Hey guys, it's Dee Lindsay, and today I'm going to show you how to design with grids. Mostly I'm going to be working in InDesign, but the concept is basically the same across InDesign, Illustrator, and Photoshop. So let's get started. First we're going to open up InDesign, and as you can see I already have a grid on my page. And this page is called a baseline grid, and it is ideal for aligning your text. And as you can see, it looks just like a lined sheet of paper. And how you get this to show up on your page, you just go up here to View, come down to Grids and Guides, and you just click here. Now mine have disappeared, so I go back, Grids and Guides, and Show Baseline Grid. Now you see that you can see that the different spacing between here and where the lines actually start, and even the color of the lines. And that can all be edited in Preferences, and then you just come down to Grids, and you can change the color of your lines, where it starts, and how much margin you have at the top, where it starts, what the increment between every line is, and the view. So if everything looks good to you, you can just press OK. So like I said, this is the grid that is ideal for aligning text. So why don't we go ahead and put some text on our page and see how it works. So we'll just make a text box, and then just copy in some filler text. And now looking at it, it's not really aligned to the lines, if that makes sense. So we can just come in here, and how we get it to be aligned, just come and select it all, and then go up to this button right here called Align to Base Grid, and we hit that, and it's perfectly aligned to the lines. Now you might notice that there's some different spacing, and that's because I used size 12 font, but had my spacing set to size 14 font. So if you want yours to be more accurate, you can just make sure that you're using the same point size for both your line spacing in here and your actual text size. So that's pretty much how to use the baseline grid, and then of course if you don't want to see it, you can just hit W in InDesign and it'll give you the print view. Okay, so let's talk about our next one. Our next one is called Document Grid, and as you can see, it looks like graph paper covering the entire document. Whereas Baseline Grid was better to align your text, Document Grid is better to align your objects. Now something that you probably want to do when you're using Document Grid is come up here to View, go down to Grids and Guides, and make sure Snap to Document Grid is checked. This will just make it easier to align your objects because they will actually snap to the grid instead of just being placed close. So I can show you an example. We can just take our ruler from over here and see how at every major line it kind of just sticks. That's what snap to grid means, and that can really help your design to become more aligned. And you might say, well, this grid is a little busy and it doesn't really work for me or for what I'm trying to do. So what you can do is actually come in with these rulers, snap them into place, put them, wherever you want them, however you want your design to be laid out. And in InDesign you can actually use the rectangle frame tool, and still using these grids, just come in and make frames for text or where you want to put some pictures, and it'll snap to the grid again because we have that option checked. So you can do that, and then if that's how you want your own personalized grid to be, you can come up to View and then just click Hide Document Grid, and then there's that grid that you've made by yourself. And then you can turn it into something like this really great poster design. I made this using the document grid, but I used the rulers and the rectangle frame tool instead of using the actual document grid. In the actual document grid, it might get a little messy and confusing with all of the small lines. So if you can come in and do something like this that you think will work better for your design, then it'll be more personalized to you, and it might be easier for you to design with. So the reason that we try to use grids in our designs are to help with our alignment, and also it'll help give us a more consistent look throughout our project. So say we're designing a multiple page photo book. We might want to use a grid system so that there's a feeling of consistency throughout our multiple pages. Alright, so that's it, guys. I hope you learned something, and I hope you go out there and use grids.